Several have been detained in this multi-state raids of the NIA to dismantle terrorist gangster drug smugglers, and the entire nexus, 53 locations in 7 states, have been raided in this day-long crackdown. And what we are learning is that arms and ammunition have been seized. Canada-based terrorist Arsh Dalla and gangsters like Lawrence Bishnoi, Sukha Dunkiye and others are under the scanner. The National Investigation Agency on Wednesday detained several suspects during a massive multi-state crackdown on the terrorist gangster drug smuggler nexus, connected with the listed terrorist who is Arsh Dalla and many dreaded gangsters. State police forces provided the necessary support and assistance in the raid. So that's the piece of breaking news that's coming in when it comes to the crackdown across the country, when it comes to the nexus linked to the Khalistani radicals, which is involved in not just arms smuggling, but also the entire drug trade, which is fueling the entire nexus. And what we are learning is that there is a massive crackdown across the country when it comes to dismantle this entire nexus. I'm joined by my colleague Anand Simon on the broadcast. Anand, give us the details.
Well, good afternoon, Ayushman, and good afternoon to our viewers. Our group editor, Security, Manoj Gupta, getting us these details, even as we've kept our viewers ahead on the crackdown. This is a comprehensive crackdown and a cleanup that was initiated in August 2022, when cases were registered and also properties were seized. And this is perhaps the sixth in that series of actions, and it's only going to intensify. It does not just limit itself to gangs operated by Arsh Dalla, Goldie Brar, Lawrence Bishnoi, Davinder Bambiha, but also extends into Kala Jathedi and some other gangs who are all interconnected somewhere or the other. Their job is extortion. They also are conduits for ferrying illegal arms along with drugs. And a lot of this money that is extorted, that is used, there are businessmen in Maharashtra, businessmen in Punjab. Audios are present where very clearly you can hear people like Landa and some of the others extorting money, threatening businessmen with their life, and then trying to reroute this to furthering their own antecedents. And there is a reason why the government currently has equated gangsters and gang operations to terror networks and treating them under the NSA and the UAPA. The reason being that these gangsters are very closely linked with terrorist outfits, extremist elements, and they are not only doing it ferrying drugs, but also arms and ammunition and training, and they're also lending in their cadre for these hit jobs which are being planned and devised on foreign soil, especially operating from nations like Canada, UK, Australia, and also the US. Now, what is also important in this crackdown is that there are associates who've now been picked. There are places where arms, ammunition, and other information has also been gathered. So clearly, the cleanup job will be far more stricter, and the rounding up will be far more stronger. With clearly trying to hurt the operations and the network, which is spread into nations beyond just these Five Eyes nations. It's also spread into various parts of Europe. These networks operate in the Middle East and some nations in Africa. So they have comprehensive networks, and this is just perhaps skimming the surface at this point and closer home. But this is clearly going to impact those who are operating from foreign soil and their own connections here. And it will hurt them, because if you pinch and if you pinprick at the toe, it is going to somewhere send signals to the brain that there is something wrong somewhere, and it is going to be a pain point and a constant source of irritation. And this is how they want to unsettle these networks who thought that they can get away with a lot of things. We can also expect further crackdown, because some very incriminating material, like you mentioned, arms and ammunition, along with that, a lot of other details have also been unearthed. Along with crackdowns, and also those people who are involved in this network. But what also stands out, and I think we must highlight it to our viewers, is that when Dr. Jaishankar mentioned it like an organized business, this is a business. This is all being done not because of any political ideology, but the ideology is just a facade. Underneath it is the immigrations business, the drugs business, the arms business, and these are all gangs which are working with nefarious entities who have connections with those who are inimical to India. And that's where, and the source, the origin of these drugs is also from Pakistan. So that's why you have either it being done by mules or in illegal infiltration, or it is being done via drones. Even today, the BSF has shot down a pack and caught drugs in Punjab, which was coming from across the border, and it was nothing but about 1.5 kilograms of heroin. So this continues, and this is an organized business where gangsters are getting involved for the money. They're using extortion rackets, and this money is getting rerouted for anti-India activities, and it's finding its way via Hawala networks, once again run by ISI agents and Pakistanis who are operating in other nations. And this money finds its way out of the country into nations like Canada, UK, and some of the other countries. And from there, again, orchestration begins to once again unsettle India and try to tear the social fabric of our country. So this is a very organized network and a huge chain, which the government is now saying that we're going to begin the internal crackdown, even as we start, holding our fists and cracking on and taking a far more stronger posture in the past internationally.